Okay, protests. Protests to save the trees, officers swear, all kinds of trees. How you doing?
Good.
What's your name?
Jeandron.
How do you spell it?
Jeandron.
It's French?
It is, yeah.
Oh, Francais?
I'm not.
You're not? Where were your parents from?
Well, I grew up in Southern Ontario.
Oh, so it's from Ontario. How long have you been in Fredericton?
About 25 years.
That's a long time. I've been 15. Different here. Huh? This is not a city. This is like a big town.
Feels like a big town, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we're here for Save the Trees. Officers swear. You've been in the media a lot. And were you here? Yes, you were here last Saturday when the mayor arrived. And a week later, did he get the impression a week ago that, okay, just go to City Hall and present your presentation, everything be fine? Is that the impression people got a week ago?
Yeah, I mean, I never heard much.
I wasn't here.
Yeah, and I didn't hear much about any sort of invitations directly, but speaking with other people, many of them had heard that they were casually invited to City Hall to talk about their concerns.
It got a little bit rough in there.
Yeah, I saw the videos. Yeah, it was clear vocal opposition.
I even call him, and you know what? Anyway, never mind that. So there's a lot of development going on, and you are a
archaeologist.
This is where I'm really interested. The north side.
Yep.
Okay. So they're doing some digging in the north side. Are they doing some digging somewhere in the north side?
I don't think they are right now. You mean for
the wall? They put the wall, right?
The wall.
The wall, the trail after the walking bridge.
Oh.
Okay. That.
Oh yes. I do. Yeah.
So, should they put the wall? Should they dig first? Look for?
Yes. You're talking about that. I think they're putting in. It's kind of right beside or behind the trail.
Picarones. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that area along Station Point is part of that development. I think they're putting in townhouses or something, row houses in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't measure it directly, but I think that hole is about at least a meter deep. And it's probably about 140, 150 meters long by about 30 to 40 meters wide. So it's a substantial hole. And as I said, my understanding is they're putting in a housing.
Housing. You weren't here. No, you came here what year?
88.
88. Okay, I came here in 2003. You were here when the Irving storage tankers.
Yep. I remember that one.
Now, they never did dig up in those days when they first put that there.
Oh, not before they put it there. No.
That would have been quite a landing spot right there.
Yeah, well, certainly that's the understood location of Fort Nashwauk, and then of course before that, as it being kind of the mouth of the Nashwauk into the Willistook River, it's also quite likely a lot of Indigenous people would have been hanging out there for the last 8,000 years or more.
How come we didn't respect the area then?
I don't know. I'll let you speculate.
No. We're just I'm just thinking here, know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
the attitude.
I don't know when those drums went in. Those drums were long since there when I arrived. In fact, I think they were kind of almost stopped being used, or not used much when I arrived, and then they a few, I don't know when it was, maybe the middle 90s, I think they came out.
Yeah, they did.
So, they were probably there for 30, 40 years or something. But I don't think there would have been any formal archaeology often at that time. There were people doing archaeology or doing work similar to archaeologists back then, but there was really no formal archaeology. Really only formally started in the province in the early 70s.
Why?
I don't know exactly. The first provincial archaeologist, Dr. Chris Turnbull, I think was the first provincial archaeologist in Canada. And he was the first one here, and I think that was 1972. So again, there may have been people doing archaeology, but probably really working out of universities or probably most universities.
So 1920s, 1930s.
There were people. I know there were people working kind of perhaps out of natural history museums, out of Ottawa and other places in the States that would come up here, but certainly nothing formally within the province.
How come we didn't care in the 1920s, 1930s about what happened 200 or 300 years earlier? What was the attitude? What was the mentality?
Yeah, that's a big question. I'm not sure that I could answer it. I mean, I think people's attitudes have changed over time. Certainly, you know, like even in Britain, it was only like Stonehenge really only became quite popular in the early 1900s. Eh?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What about the digging for the pyramids? That's only.
Yeah,
But we had the grave robbers. They were pretty good.
Yeah, there's absolutely a lot of that. Yeah, and that's what I say, that there were people kind of behaving like archaeologists.
Yeah.
That's a lot of those people.
Yeah.
But there were people.
They didn't really take the time.
They weren't really doing proper archaeology.
It was grab. Dig, grab, and leave.
They were interested in the past, but they weren't really doing it using archaeological methods.
No.
Like I said, most of that's relatively new.
You guys like a cookie?
A cookie. My God.
Biodiversity. And there, if you're allergic to anything, that's what.
Oh my God! We gotta make sure everybody is politically correct now, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, it's healthy. I suppose. You don't want somebody allergic to it.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, I gotta take a picture of that.
There are a few left.
Sure.
Go for it.
Go for it, sure.
My friend made them.
They made homemade cookies? Yes.
Yes.
There you go. Homemade cookies.
No, fine, thanks. Thank you very much.
Don't go around. I want to take a picture of that sign later. That is funny. So, no, but the bottom line is there's a lot of history here in Fredericton.
We know that there's 13,000 years of people living in Fredericton.
13,000.
Yep. We have found sites that are 13,000 years old.
So what did we learn from this episode the past week?
That Frederictonians care about their past. Again, you know, this is a National Historic Site. That's important. That's significant. When you call it a National Historic Site, it means that it's important to all Canadians. It's also a provincial heritage place. So that means the province has said, hey, this is really important to New Brunswickers. And so, you know, there needs to be mechanisms to ensure that if you're going to negatively affect, if you want to damage that important heritage, that you do absolutely everything you can to collect as much information as possible to avoid it from being completely lost and wasted.
Do you think if we start digging here 20 feet down, take 2 or 3 years slowly digging, we'll find a few stuff here?
I know we will. Yeah, I mean, one of the descriptions that they use to tell Canadians and New Brunswickers that this is important, they call them character-defining elements. There's a list of them. 4 of the 5 are scheduled to be destroyed, or moved, or changed, or leaving Officer Square. The trees are mature trees are one of the character-defining elements. They're scheduled to leave, be cut down. The Lord Beaverbrook statue, that's a character-defining element. That's going to be leaving. The cannons are character-defining elements. They're gone.
They're gone at the transport.
They're gone already. They're no longer here.
Yeah, I know, across the river.
Yeah, and then the other one is, of course, is the wrought iron fence. That's, I think, largely going to stay, but it's going to be altered, so there's some potential loss there. But then the other one is the intact archaeological remains that are here. And we know since the British were here in 1784, which is the birth of the province, we know since they were here that absolutely there's archaeology here, probably not very deep at all, dating back to 1784.
Must be a lot of whiskey bottles there.
All kinds of stuff. Everything you can imagine, the way everybody lived. And then of course there's a very good chance that there's Acadian sites here, Loyalist. And then we also know from excavations that happened upstream beside the Legion that you could have lived in this location 8,000 years ago. There was trees growing. It was dry then. So, and we know that the Willistook, we had lived along the Willistook for 13,000 years, but they could have been here for easily 8,000 years after the high water left.
I always said, if I could go back in time, besides going the period of Jesus, I would love to be in the middle of the river, right there, in a boat, 600 years ago.
And not see all of this, see the big, I mean, these big trees here are huge, but they're not that big compared to the way they would have been 600 years ago.
What do you think in your mind? What we would have seen there 600 years ago?
It's so hard to picture.
The river would have been different color.
It would have been different color. There would have been fish everywhere, birds, deer, all the animals would have been.
Mosquitoes.
Oh yeah, all of those creatures would have been tenfold in numbers. And you know, it would have been quiet. Just think about
Very
that. Like
quiet.
you can't. I often go into the woods now, and I could be seemingly far away from everybody, and all I can hear is cars going by and a plane flying overhead. It's hard to find quiet.
Yeah,
and it would have been like that. You would have heard every bird going, every frog chirp, making noises.
It would have been under a full moon.
It would have been very different for sure. Yeah, and you would have to rely on your own wit and your own knowledge and all the stories passed down to you from generation to generation.
The natives, they were going from Kingsclear to here to Oromocto.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, because of course Kingsclear, Oromocto, Fredericton didn't really exist, and so yeah, every part of this river was
The First Nation, they used that as summer this year.
Well, the whole river system was. Yeah, absolutely.
That was their highway.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, it was until we created these roads. I mean, you know, the French. That's how they created the different, I think, properties for the Acadians. The French is they start upstream, and then first person to show up gets this 100 meters wide. Next person, he goes the other side, takes 100 meters, and you just keep on going down the river until you know all the space is taken.
I think that cookie, give it to me. What's that?
Didn't read the ingredients, did you?
Nice to meet you.